everyone, and welcome to another stream. So over the last week or so, I kind of asked you guys what kind of things that you'd like to see built in Blockbench this week. We had a poll on the Everbloom Twitter, and the answer that you guys came up with was this beauty of an anglerfish. Literally a fish which looks like it has a ball sack on its head, just saying. So, hello dragon. This is what we're going to be doing today. Honestly, I've been looking for a nice picture and they all just are hideous and terrifying, so thank you for choosing that today. To start off with though, I'm just going to quickly take you guys around a little model I've done recently, which I posted on my Twitter, which is of this little lion bear. This is a little brown bear. For this model, I try to add a lot more texture than I usually do. So in the fur, trying to give this roughness and shaggy furry look, white soulless eyes, you know. And I think it came out pretty nicely, so I'm quite happy with that. So, as you can see, I haven't done this side yet, but just ignoring that, that's what I've done. Little. It could be little, you don't know, like, yeah, it's a pretty rough bear. It's cute. I was pretty happy with this one, actually. I still tried to stick with Minecraft style, but like always, generally I get a bit carried away with the angles and the components, but oh well. So let's just get right into it, I guess. So this is going to be my anglerfish. One of the most horrific creatures ever, but that's fine as well. Start off, gonna add a group, call it main. Add a cube, call it main. So, anglerfish, most of these pictures kind of look similar in kind of shape, but I think a lot is going to come down to how I want to texture it, and if I want it to be more interesting, like this orange one or the luminous one, or this ground little horrific. Oh, I can't even look at them. Oh, why did you? Oh. So to go over the choices you guys had when it came down to voting, you had Dark Falcon, which was a little bit of a typo, meant to be either Falcon with an F, A-L, or a Vulture with ending in T-U-R-E, of course. But this is what we ended up with. Yeah. So it was pretty close between anglerfish and kangaroo. But in the end, anglerfish won off. What did you ask for, Dragon? I had many suggestions actually in the end. I had quite a few come into my inboxes and stuff, so we had to be somewhat selective. I think I'm going to base it off this image here. So quite simply breaking it down, there is one cube here with this little mouth jutting out. Then we've got this main section of the tail, top section, bottom section, end section, and then kind of their little sticky out light thingy. Armadillo lizard. I do like lizards, but I have recently done a lizard. I think that's why we didn't choose that one. I want to do something a bit different and I haven't really done any fish, so experience is awesome. Hello. So let's get right on into it. So one main cube. Before I start actually, I usually try and check how big these creatures are to try and make it somewhat proportional. Anglerfish are 3.3 feet. 3.3 feet? Isn't that like a meter? Oh my god, it's 1 meter long. That is terrifying. Hello, Iwaki. Oof. That's kind of freaking me out a bit. Honestly, anglerfish, horrific creatures. Let's get on with it then. So they're approximately 1 meter long. So let's make it a little bit bigger so I can get some detail in on the texture. There you go, that should do. Like always, I usually start by doing the sides of the model, then I move around to the front, top, and do it view by view. That's usually how I find it easiest, at least. So now we've got this mane. We need to get the strange kind of jaw thing. They have weird jaws. They're like disconnected from the rest of the head. They're just kind of, they have like a big hole in the middle and just a flappy jaw. Like, from all these pictures, they're just, ugh. Why do these creatures exist? Ugh. Look at them. Jesus. Okay. So we're gonna have this main bit, and I think we're gonna separate this jaw out along the bottom. Let's have a look. Just gonna duplicate this, bring it down. Jaw. Have this rotated a bit. What was your suggestion, Rolling? Sorry, I don't remember. Are you rolling or rowling or additional other? I'm actually going to separate this jaw into 2 parts just to try and get a bit more of a shape to it. I'm actually going to make the bottom jaw bigger than the top because I think that's going to be more dramatic. Hello, in our youth. In our youth? I don't know. I think this general body needs to be a bit wider as well. I just anglerfish and oh, there you go. Winner, winner. JK Rowling. Ah. Let's just center this stuff. Always center your work, guys. It makes it so much easier to work with. Okay, so we've got this kind of going on. I think I'm going to make it 1 wider actually. So I think a lot of what this fish is going to have to be is flat 2D textures, like for get some big old teeth and these fins. We can even get some translucency of these fins, which is always a nice feature to add, especially now that Bedrock now supports transparent textures. So that's always fun to play with. Let's have a look at these images. You know JK Rowling, of course, Harry Potter author. I used to love Harry Potter, I still do. You could go in a side view and put that image in the background, just so you know. Yeah, see, I do know that people do that to build up on and like to make sure proportions are right, but for some reason I just always enjoy kind of free-handing it, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know, like, it's a personal preference. I do get that people do that and that's cool, but For me at least, I like to have the freedom of just kind of winging it. A lot of what I do is just basically me winging it, so why stop in modelling? I actually want these to be separate and to be a back fin. Ugh. Do you guys tend to do that in which you have a side view and have it as a background? As background view and 3D view and put it in the corner somewhere else as reference. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, for me it's fine because I have two screens. So I just have it up on the other screen, which you guys can't see, I realise, but it's obvious enough for me. So let's get this back. Is there a way to turn angle snaps off? I tried making a frog a few days ago and I could only change every 22.5 degrees. Are you talking about entity mode or block model work mode? Because they are very different. Yeah, in block model, you can only do 22.5 degrees. However, if you're in entity mode, if you hold shift or control, you can control how you rotate it a bit more. If that makes sense. I love having questions because it just makes me have to question my abilities. I always find that if you have other people asking you questions and you have to answer, it helps you learn as well. Or makes you learn how much you don't actually know. So these creatures kind of have an upper and a lower flappy thing as well as their back fin. I don't know if that's true for the other pictures. Yeah, it's mixed. Yeah, let's add those in. Yeah, that's another good thing to note. You can only rotate groups in entity mode, not individual cubes. So I'm conflicted between having these one thick or making them flat and having them translucent. Dilemmas. I think I'll have these top bits as 2D. That could kind of work, I guess. Ooh, wrong way. Let's put it around about there. You can also just turn the rotation limiter off in block mode, but wouldn't be able to use a model in game if you do that. Yeah, it just, if you're actually trying to have them implemented into Java, you have to use the normal increments. So I think I'm actually going to have the main part of the fin as solid and have this back part as a 2D texture. And that way I can have it slightly translucent, which should be cool. Get some interesting shape in there maybe. Could possibly curve it a bit. We'll see. This is a very long fin. Let's just move these inwards just to make the fin a little bit shorter. There we go. Cool. Next we've got the side fins. Because I am planning on animating this, I am going to have them all separate rotations and separate bones. So looking at positioning, should be around about here, I'd say. Yeah. Let's just rotate it around a little bit. That'll probably do. Maybe a bit more, just so this block doesn't clip into the side. Just going to duplicate that and make it bigger. I think I want this shape fin to be curved, so it's actually going to look a lot bigger right now, but when it actually comes to texturing, a lot of these corners will actually be shaved off by the texture because they'll be transparent. Trying to find the best position. You also want to pull this out a bit so it looks like this fin is actually connected to the body rather than just be wildly out there. So that's the side done. I'm just going to duplicate that and flip that across. Perfect. Now let's have a look at our pictures again. God, these creatures are ugly. So I think we should probably do their little dangly light thing. If only there was a way to do dangly light things in Minecraft which actually lit up. Unfortunately, that's not an option yet. Maybe in the future, but for now at least we have to just deal with it. So I think I'm going to put this in a separate area altogether. That did not do that. What do you call it? It's like a dangly thing. Oh, so descriptive of always. Let's start around about back here. Now some of them just have it just straight up and just here. Some have it curved over the front. I think to make it more, just a little bit more fun, I'm going to have it curved around the front. Is there a luminance option for texturing as well, actually? As far as I'm aware, no. That's unfortunately not a thing. Like, you can't have models, well, mods have light emittance. It's something which I always hope that they'll add, but I really don't know if they will. So let's have the next section of the dangly thing. Round about in that angle. Maybe a bit more. And then I'm just going to use the beautiful vertex snap just to get that in there. Perfect. I'm also going to deflate this a little bit just so I don't have any Z fighting. Cool. I think we're going to have one more section out the front. So I'm just going to duplicate this and pull it into here. Again, more vertex snap. More of a deflation. Let's just look at it in comparison to these. That one's crazy. These creatures are kind of evil, you know. I mean, they're interesting, but evil all the same. It's called a lantern. That's applicable to block models, not for mobs. Oh, oh god, you meant the dangly thing. Is it actually called a lantern? I'm such an idiot. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Finding Nemo. Yeah, so, oh, that's a GIF. So maybe it should come dangling down the front a little bit more. That's about getting there then. I'm just going to shrink this before I forget, just so I don't have any sea fighting. That's what you would call it. You should be the biologist, Janice, not all those scientists. You should. Just have it a bit dangler. And now at the end they have, I don't know why, it's kind of like a bigger dangly thing. The lantern end. Let's have a look at what it actually is. What is the end of an anglerfish dangly thing called? It just has a spiny fin. Anglerfish lighted dangling lure. Glowing lure. That's such a boring name. I prefer Janice's. God, this thing's ugly. Okay. I think I'm actually going to make all these dangly things a bit smaller. Yeah, it is. They use it to bait fish in the dark, dark ocean. There should be a... Janice, you should make an easier tool to have things line up in the middle, because I could very well use the vertex snap for this, but then obviously it's not in the middle of this cube. Is there a way to do that? I know that I can just center it to X, but is there a way to center it in proportion or relative to another cube, if that makes sense? This blobby thing's way too big now. Yeah, the fish gets interested in their little lure. I'm an idiot. Because it's lit up, and when they are very deep in the ocean, you don't have much light, so it's obviously something which is quite interesting to fishies. Center of a cube relative to another cube. Yeah. Is that a thing? I know it's useful for me at least. Yes, plane setter. Yeah, would be useful. Oh, there you go. This dangly thing just looks weird right now. I'm not gonna lie. we're just gonna go with it, I think. I might change it at a later date. For this jaw then, I am gonna add lots of teeth. So in order to do that, I'm going to duplicate this, make it one taller, maybe make it two taller, vertex snap it, just so I have that option to extend the teeth up this, like either by 1 or 2 pixels if I wanted. I'm going to do the same for this one. There. And generally, I think we've actually already kind of got it in a decent place. Yeah, that took way less time than I thought it would. Cool. So now I'm just going to create a texture using this as a template. I'm going to name it Anglerfish 1.1. And here we go. Something I should have done before, however, is made these all 0.01 thick, just so I don't have that horrible texture fighting. Yes. There we go. Cool. Couldn't you technically just add a middle point on all the edges of the elements and make it line up that way? That seems like a lot of work if you're talking about literally splitting each cube into 2 to make a middle section, if that's what you mean. Regardless, I think it just could be a nice tool to have. Right, let's get into texturing. So I'm just going to want to erase the size of these back fins so I don't have this horrible fighting going on. There we go. The same goes for these, just so I can have this texture to play with. I could, yeah. Just hide this. This is all hidden already. Perfect. Or fake it on the texture. You have to add the luminance from the lantern and render afterwards. Yeah, that's true. When render-wise, it could be done, but fake it on the texture. I mean, you could fake the fact that it has a light in front of it on the texture. That's an interesting point. And it's something that I will be trying, but I can't say how well that's going to turn out yet. So I'm just going to copy this texture across to this fin and mirror it. There we go. Add more points in the vertex snapping tool. So instead of having points on the corners, there would be points in the middle of the edges too. Yeah, that could work. Okay. So did I forget to make these 0.1 wide? I think I did. Yeah, I did. I fucked up there. God damn it, Dion. 0.01. I mean, Janice, if you think that's possible, that could be a corny feature, but just putting it out there. Cool. So now I'm going to start colouring, but anglerfish aren't particularly exciting. They're generally different shades of horrible brown because they live very deep underwater, which light doesn't penetrate all the way through. So the only colours really left at that level are muggy reds, browns, or blues basically, which is why you get some horrible colours like this, which is not particularly interesting. So to counteract that, I think I should go for more of a yellowy orange colour, which although is not particularly, or maybe an orangey red, it's not particularly accurate, but it's far more interesting than brown. Edge snap, yeah, could be cool. So to do this fill, I'm just going to fill the cubes up with a reddy orange. Let's make it a bit darker, but not too dark. That could work for now. I'm just going to fill in everything with this. For some reason your cube tool isn't working on these top faces, Janice. Oh, that's because it's a different face. Oh, take it back. There we go. And for this little dangly thing, we're going to have the same colour for now, but we will lighten that up. So I want to copy this texture of this little fin across as well. This face isn't colouring in. Go on. Cool. And these, of course, also have to be orange. There we go. So to start with, I think this front section I'm going to make a fraction lighter, maybe a bit more orangey yellow in it. That'll do. Make the size more 1. I'm just going to mark in the colours with some solid, so at full opacity. And up here as well. And like always, I'm only going to do one side. I'm going to focus on this side, and then later on in Photoshop I'm going to copy and flip it across to this side. So don't judge that side. Cool. Now I'm going to lower this opacity right down to around about 20 or 30, the sweet spot. And just keep on using Alt to pick new colours in order to get this more of a transition going on. I should probably hide this and this. Just want a smoother transition. So generally around the fin they do have kind of a more curved area here. Just going to hide the side so I can get to the bottom a bit more. Because this obviously is a somewhat curved creature, I am going to have to use the texture to kind of mimic the roundness of the body a bit. Kind of fake it by using lighter colours around the edges. Make sure I'm going to colour in all these in-between spots on the side, which generally get overlooked, at least by me. And generally I just keep on going like this until I basically have most of the texture coloured in some way, even if it's just like minuscule differences between it and the next pixel. So it's basically just adding noise. There is a noise tool obviously in Blockbench which I personally don't use just because I like the freedom of being able to change gradients as I see fit, but yeah. So I think actually I'm going to have it go darker towards the back, so I'm going to bring in some dark colours to make these curves. Just starting to get some shape on these fins. Have you ever considered a palette tool, Janice, so you can easily select kind of palettes which you want to use? You could probably do quite a lot more with the kind of texturing aspect of Block Bench. You could just basically copy tools from Photoshop, like things like the sponge tool and tools to increase saturation or vibrance. If any 21 haven't before the stream. And that's using more elements than may be necessary. Are your minds blown? How do people paint with a mouse? I don't mind. I'm painting with a mouse right now. I don't mind it. I do have a drawing tablet. My other by pressing left down. I have a Huon drawing tablet as my other screen at the moment, which I do use for graphics and sketch work. But for me, at least, when texturing like this, I find it easier to use a mouse because I have more control over my movements and which angles I'm looking at than I find that I have with a digital pen. If I were to do the texturing or pixel art in Photoshop, however, I would use the digital pen, of course, because I find that's a lot easier to draw with. I take it you do your textures with a pen then, Wacky? I think it makes sense for sculpting and stuff to use a pen or different tools, but when using cubes, I guess, and using squares and pixels, it can be a lot easier to use a mouse because you're kind of more limited in movement, if that makes sense. The colour palette has a little clicker at the side. What? This thing, you mean? Problem with me is I just spam Alt constantly, so I always get bloody tons of colours. That sounds like a me problem, to be honest. So I'm going to make this mouth a little bit darker as well, because it's evil and dark. So I'm going to bring these images back over just to have a look at kind of the texturing aspects I can add. Ugh, ballsack. They do have some wrinkles around the eyes. Lots of them have these dots over them for a reason. I presume they're bioluminescent or something. Unsure. I think I'm going to add some of those dots to my own. Oh, hi, Hariel. See, this jaw is quite light and bright. Maybe I should be going for that. Hello, I am French. Good for you, Mr. Flipper. I am British. How's life in France? Hi, French, I'm Janice. Janice, you should actually be ashamed of that. Get off my stream. We don't need that kind of attitude around here. There we go, it's kind of coming together a little bit more now. So at the top I want it a bit darker around here to kind of emphasise the dangly thing, as I put it. Hi Janice and Dad. I hate dad jokes, but at the same time, I'm not really one to talk, seeing as I keep on making puns on Twitter. Good job, Ninja. Thank you, Mr. Flipper. Hi, Dad. I'm slowly dying of sleep deprivation. Oh, that's literally me. Apart from I don't tell my dad or he'd worry. Are you not using the compact texture feature? So I do use the compact texture feature. When it comes to the end, I just recreate the textures using what I've got here as a template, and then I compress it. For me, at least if I need to add like an area over here, I have the space to do so. Because once I've compacted it, it becomes a lot more difficult to kind of sort that out, and I have to get into technicalities. But generally, I do compact at the end. Especially if you've got a lot of models, it's going to be hella difficult to run that on any platform if you have a lot of textures and a lot of models, as this map probably will. It's going to make its whole darker here. TV. I don't tell my dad either, he would kill me quicker than sleep deprivation does. Jesus. Get some sleep. Gee. Why don't you sleep? What's the reason? So lots of the time these things kind of have white eyes or glazed over eyes. I take it because they're probably quite blind, because they don't really need to see when they're down there. I think white could be interesting to go for, so let's go for that. So I'm just gonna make the outside of the eye dark. Move this opacity down. Got very good accent, I love. Me too, pal. No, I don't. I sound like a fucking posh bitch sometimes. No, fucking I'm not. So let's get this colour up to white. Oh Jesus, it looks dead and soulless, which is probably a good representation. They have really bad eyesight, even though they have basically a flashlight attached to their forehead. Yeah, I mean, they live very, very deep underwater, and that deep, obviously you don't have a lot of light coming through from the surface, so there's probably not an awful lot of point having good eyesight. mental health problem. I guess I feel like such a failure when I go to bed, and I'm always so tired anyway. So it's Jesus, that got deep pretty fast. Well, for me at least, sleep always helps. I sleep a solid 4 hours during the week, and then at weekends I sleep a solid 14. It's not a very healthy lifestyle, but when you're busy and got to do work, it's what you have to do. They blind themselves by looking at it all day. I'm not sure if that's the technical reason why, but I mean, seems legit. Right. We've got the kind of shape going on now. Yeah. Blacked out from driving home from a friend's house. You know, sleeping tired is basically as bad as sleeping drunk. So, sleeping drunk? Driving tired is basically as bad as driving drunk. So basically, don't not sleep and drive, people. It's not helpful. Oh no! I slept 15 hours by accident today, and now I'm fucked to work tomorrow. That's literally me. Like, I get into a sleeping schedule by the end of the week, and then at the weekend, I basically sleep constantly and I screw it again. You guys need to have proper bedtimes. Oh my god. Irresponsible. I can't really talk. I'm an adult. I'm going to have my life together by now, but I really do not. So now I'm kind of going to bring in the shape of this little fin a bit, try and make it a bit curved. There we go. I don't blame her for almost screaming at you. That is very irresponsible. Rolfoul, however you say it. So I'm going to make the ends of this fin a bit lighter. Yeah, and now we're going to gently erase to get a transparency going. Many of us are adults and don't have everything together already. I feel like no one actually has anything together. We're all just pretending. There's a deep thought for you. There we go. So now we've got kind of a transparent fin going on, which is pretty cool. Let's get this dangly thing back. Gonna make this thing quite dark and then very light at the end to try and give the impression that it's luminous. See if I tingle away. Okay. I usually sleep 7 to 7.5 hours on the weekend, about 1 hour less during the week. Yeah. At the weekend, I absolutely just sleep. That's when I catch up on my sleep from the week. Like, I'll be lucky to get 5 or 6 hours during the week, but weekends, man, is where it's all at. Went to bed at 1, got up at 2 today. That's what being an adult is really all about, having the freedom to choose your own bedtimes. Jesus, this chat's getting very deep very quickly. Anyone have any happier stories to tell to lighten the mood? Like this weekend I was travelling home, and when I was travelling back on the train there was a beautiful little puppy to keep me company. That's a happier story. Trying desperately to maintain a happy atmosphere. Oh God. I was at my parents' this weekend though, and my mum gets very hissy about me staying up late and getting up late. Only the female angler has the lure teeth and is the bigger of the two. Yeah, like male anglers basically come up to the female, attach it onto the side, and they get absorbed by the female, and that's how the anglerfish gets pregnant. It's an esker. Oh, okay. That's good to know. Yeah, nature's weird. Link's Awakening remake was announced for Switch. New Zelda games equals Happy Renee. How does the male catch food? It probably doesn't live particularly long, I don't imagine. It's probably basically just born to mate with a female. And it probably lives off little things like plankton and little debris at the bottom of the sea is what I'd guess. But I could just be talking bull, of course. You got yourself a new car. Oh, holy crap. What car did you get? They wait till fish swim into them off. Right, so now I'm getting this little thing lit up a bit. I'm going to bring this into this area a bit, maybe try and pretend like it's being lit up. And a bit I will try and get a lighting effect with the texture in which this lights up the face. But for now I'm going to stick with this simple way of just going with this. Cool, so now that that's done I think we can get the back fins going. So in a similar style to this front one. I want to get a new car. I want to get a car. I didn't have a car to begin with. Unfortunately, you kind of have to know how to drive to justify that, though. There we go, it's getting there. Ford Focus. Half is old and half the fuel constantly has me on Volkswagen. Oh, my mum has a Ford Focus. Do you mirror the colouring once done? I do, really. I'm quite lazy, so I don't bother doing it right now. I just wait till the end and do it in Photoshop. Ohio. Hello. So now I'm going to bring some light colours into the fins. Just use your mum's car. My mum doesn't trust me with her car. Even though it's completely ancient by now. She's had it for absolutely years. She won't let me drive it. I don't blame her. Like, yeah, and insurance is expensive for a new driver, but still. So now we've got the colouring in. We're going to use the eraser to once again get some transparency in there. Renee, come on, you gotta try this. Get a grip. JK. So I'm just gonna take some corners out to try and get this shape a bit more curved. Like that. Just gonna use varying transparencies to try and give it like this thin, flexible, I don't know how to describe it, look, like this. How does the paintbrush work? You pick a colour and then it's applied with a low opacity. So for the paintbrush, you have the colour and then you have the transparency along down here, or you can use the opacity tool up here. 100 is completely opaque, 0 is completely transparent. So at the moment it's 30% opacity, but I was using the eraser tool to do that just then, because generally I find it easier to paint it solid and then take away sections when it's painted, basically. So for this I used a low opacity, which basically just means it's a low power eraser. So 100% opacity for the eraser would completely get rid of it. 0% would basically do nothing. We are 3 in our family. We have 3 cars. 1 for your mum and you, the other 2 for your dad. Why did your dad get 2 cars? Gah. Unacceptable, to be honest. So now we're going to do the teeth. So let's bring out the top one first. Gonna make these teeth white for now. High opacity. So the ones at the front are usually the biggest. So let's start with those. Something like that could work. Just kind of filling in when I feel. Something like that could be, yeah, that works. And then I'm going to do the lower jaw. Yeah. That kind of works. Cool. And we've got the teeth in. We are 4 people and you have 6 cars. 2 out of order and 1 sits in Canada. Oh. I take it one's in Canada because you have a place in Canada, or you are a French, therefore you have to flirt with the ladies. Am I right? So now I'm going to have the colour as slightly yellowy orange to kind of give it an aged look, and I'm going to go over the teeth a little bit with this. Just add a little bit more colour to them. think I'm actually going to move this area out a little. Oh, these draw out a little bit so it doesn't coincide with the eye as much. My brother basically has a second home in Canada and he has a truck there. Nice. I've never been to Canada. I'd love to go. I love the snow and the cold. Ugh. Ninja ASMR. New video coming out soon, guys. Okay, so now we've only got some finishing touches to do, such as this inner part of the jaw, which I want to have to be dark and ominous. Canada is beautiful. Oh, it looks beautiful. Ugh. Start whispering. I feel absolutely not. No, thank you. Not for me. Thank you. Next. Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Canada, but America and Canada are just always so far from Britain, and it's expensive with planes, and it's a long journey. I would love to go though. One day soon, hopefully. Your English isn't very bad. It's actually pretty good. I mean, honestly, I'm just amazed at anyone who can speak another language, because I can't speak anything else. I speak the minute amount of Spanish, and I was learning French at one point, but I gave up because I'm not good at languages. Please no whispering. Yeah, Dragon, I agree. I hate it. It makes me cringe. Like when people eat into mics and stuff. Oh, I hate it. How old are you, Janice? What do you do as a full-time job? Just out of interest, like, you don't have to answer, of course, if you don't want to. Gotta run again. Have a good stream, Ninja. Thank you, Renee. I'll talk to you soon, baby. I've known Renee for absolutely years. Somehow, although it doesn't feel like it. Well, in Canada they usually speak English, except if you're in Quebec, but who wants to go there? My French is pretty bad, to be honest. Yeah. I'm very grateful I speak English, because basically most countries in the world speak it. So I'm never, you know, in trouble if I don't know the language. So I'm very happy in that respect. Oui, baguette. Yeah, honestly, I'm not good with other languages. I wish I could, maybe one day, but for now at least. You go to school full time and also do modelling and voice editing jobs. Oh, okay, sweet. What do you study at school? So I'm just going to do the inner of the mouth, which the poor fish will see when it opens its ugly mouth. Oui, oui, mon ami. I do know Je m'appelle and ça va. But generally, languages aren't for me, unfortunately. I was learning Dutch at one point, but I think I've said before, Dutch is a horrible language to learn. Plus, it's not really useful outside of, you know, the Netherlands. Right, now as a test, I need to get this jaw out so I can see what it's actually going to reveal when it opens. Hamilton. Oh, I haven't seen Hamilton, so that reference is going to be lost on me. What is this for? This is for an upcoming project alongside Everbloom Studios, where I'm just going to make a bunch of animals and stick them in Minecraft. Wow, that jaw movement though. Ugh. Yeah, I know that in the Netherlands you kind of learn a lot of other languages. I kind of screwed up here, the jaw. Statistics and poetry analysis. Holy crap. Oh my god. Yeah, I have no idea about any of that. Need to go watch Hamilton right now. I know it's just been released as a play on Broadway here in Britain, but screw the model of Hamilton. But it's not like an actual movie, is it? Right now, at least. Why is this jaw so fucked? I should have thought about this. I never think things through. Real modelling. As in like, I guess character modelling and stuff. I'm just going to reposition this rotation area when I get a good... Oh, that's a better place. That's better. Terrifying. These creatures are horrible. Anyway. Illegally distributed. How dare you? I would never watch anything illegal. Pfft, I'm an upstanding citizen, I am. So for this top jaw, I'm gonna have it around this gaping hole for a mouth. I kind of don't want it to be visible when this jaw is normal. I mean, maybe I'll have to bring it up one. ZBrush and object modeling, I've done modeling for products because of my uni course, but I've never done like character modeling or anything, even though I am interested in it. It's just ZBrush is very expensive, so I haven't been able to do that as of yet. Kind of looks like Magikarp from Pokemon. I can see that. just about. The moment looks so daffy. Oh, kill me now. Okay. Let's bring these teeth back in to distract from that horrible mouth. I'm sorry, it's just so derpy. Oh. Oh, so you actually have projects based on character modelling Dragon Master. What is that for exactly? Oh, I'm sorry. That's just so derpy. Oh well. For university course. Ah, what university course are you doing? You've probably told me already, but I don't have a good memory. I could add some 3D teeth for the top as well, but I don't entirely know how worth it that is at this stage. So for now at least, I think I'm going to leave it like that. So generally we kind of have it going on now. Don't have an awful lot left to do on this. Guess I gotta neaten up all these side areas which I often miss, like here. I have considered looking at kind of character design and concept design for games at universities, potentially looking at doing a master's, but I don't know, part of me just wants to take Minecraft / modelling full time and just see where that takes me. It could completely and utterly flop. Minecraft could suddenly die out, but I mean, it's pretty enjoyable to do stuff like this, and you should do what you enjoy with your life. There we go. It's coming together now. Just questioning what to do about this eye because it fades in a bit to the tooth a bit too much. You prefer doing MC full time at this point? Yeah. My life is basically taken over by Minecraft and modelling, but I don't mind that so much. It's kind of enjoyable for me, so it's not really like it's too much work. Right, so I'm going to save this texture as it is right now. And then I'm going to try and see if we can get some lighting effects with this to make it seem like this face is lit up by it. How I'm going to do that, I'm not entirely sure. This is going to be very experimental, so you guys are going to have to stick with me. So I think generally to start with, if I just reduce the light on this generally to kind of dull it out. Comparatively, if I then make this face lighter, it might look a bit better. Oh god, the song's come back with the operatic voice. Sorry people, I'm going to have to change this. Alright, let's see if I can make this work. I'm going to have to hide these. Alright, see you later, rolling. Oh, for God's sake, I still can't get that right. So I'm going to put this opacity right down and see if we can get like a spot-like feature going on. I don't entirely know how I'm going to do this very successfully, but I mean, it's got something going on. It's got somewhat of a spotlight going on. It doesn't look great though, does it? It's something. Yeah, I don't know about that, people. You can judge that for yourselves, but I don't think that worked as I'd hoped. I experimented, didn't work out. What can I say? Let's just go back to this texture. I like this texture. So now I think it's all looking very light at the moment. So I think I'm going to add some more texture and some more darkness and lightness. The model is turning just as dark as the chat. Oh god, relatable. Yeah, I often struggle going into university, I'm not going to lie. My attendance isn't amazing. It's just about the level which they won't call me up on it, but yeah, it's not great. What university are you in then, Dragon? I mean, I'm in a normal university and I can't even seem to hack that half the time. University of Applied Scientists in Hangenberg. Upper Austria. That's pretty cool. Animation, game design, audio / video production. Ah, media technology. Interesting. I mean, I'm pretty happy with my uni life, actually. Like, in fairness to them, they're pretty good at what they do. And they do overload us more than most courses. But in comparison to your course, it's probably not that much. So not an awful lot left to do on this, really, guys. Surprisingly, this has actually turned out okay, considering what an ugly creature this thing is. Look at these things. I think I might add a few spots along the back, like sometimes found. Austria, huh? You ran into any kangaroos recently? I don't know if that's meant to be a joke or not, Janice. Or if you really have just misread that. What kangaroos in Australia? Yeah. So I kind of want to add these spots in quite light and blue, but I don't know how it's going to work out. So I'm just going to save this just in case. So they kind of have these spots going around their body, weirdly enough. I love the snow. I wish it snowed more here in Britain. We had a small amount of snow, but it stopped pretty quickly. Your joke's getting worse. Agreed. The French one was actually decent. Debatable, Janice, debatable. I'm not sure how I feel about those spots, to be honest. I might just turn them into this kind of lighter... Looks like a toadstool now. Thank you, Janice. So supportive, so kind. I'm gonna move it into these lighter yellow dots, I think. I have to look up that word. Toadstools are pretty cute. I don't know. I just wanted to add a bit more texture to it. I don't know if it necessarily improves it, but we'll see. Princess Toadstool, Princess Peach. Good old Mario memes. I'm going to make these teeth a bit more yellow so they stand out a bit more in comparison to the white eye. And with that, I think I'm actually ready to kind of bring this to an end, this model. Yeah, I think it came out with a kind of a okay ending considering what an ugly fish I was asked to model. I think there we have it for today. Got this kind of cute, don't know if you can call it cute, but we've got something at least. We've got this anglerfish. So with that, I think it's time to end the stream here. So thank you guys all very much for joining, as usual. I hope you will join me next week, 8 PM GMT, the usual time, the same place. Make sure to follow my Twitter, which is link in the bio, to keep up to date with my models and my streams. Apart from that, I guess, thank you guys for watching and I will see you next time. Goodbye.